Today is the 29th of May, and I want to take you back almost 4 months ago to when I was pitching a video series to Vegard. Basically, I was looking back over 2021, which was not the best year of my life by any means, but I went through phases over the year where I just got really into something. So you're gonna remember this. In March 2021, I got really into Taylor Swift. I knew Taylor Swift songs before, but I'd never really obsessively listened to her, putting her albums on. And I just started listening to her. And still to this day, I would say Taylor Swift is probably the artist I listen to most every given month. I am a full-on Swiftie now, and my audience know this about me now. I've started dropping little Easter eggs and references in videos. My audience are loving that. We knew the hero died, so what's the movie for? You knew it's still her underneath my scars from where you pulled me apart, but what you did was just as dark. Dinner. So, I'll go back to the start again, just so, because I don't think you really got it. So, she emphasizes bad, blood, song, cab, trip, LA. I want to be excluded from this narrative.
She's still 23, inside her fantasy.
Oh my god, did you know Taylor Swift is in this movie?
Why didn't you say so?
Suddenly you're interested.
We're gonna slow it down for this next song, if that's alright.
Oh, Taylor Swift! In Taylor Swift's version of the album Red, the album cover just isn't red enough. The way I would describe our roommate or our flatmate-ship is Vegard loudly blasts Reputation while I quietly listen to Folklore in the living room.
I also want to take partial credit for getting into
You
Taylor
did,
Swift.
you definitely. Yeah, we were playing Minecraft. That's what I remember.
Oh my god, we were playing Minecraft and then we were on a server together. What the f was 2021?
Don't try me, Seamus.
Sorry. I'd genuinely be interested in just doing the Taylor Swift video right now. Just
Yeah.
discussing Taylor Swift. I've never, the enthusiasm that just came up there when we were just talking about Taylor Swift was unparalleled in any video I've done in years. Is that a video? How I became a Swiftie? Hello. Welcome to a video, I think.
I don't think you can film this with your back standing to
I can't do two things at once.
How did this happen?
I don't know, Swiftie, because that's I think that's a stan, as you said, would be a Swiftie. I think there's a line between being a Taylor Swift fan and a Swiftie, right?
Yeah.
So when did I become a Swiftie? I think there is footage somewhere of me talking about this on a podcast, on a Patreon exclusive podcast.
Cue the clip.
I was told by someone in my Patreon Discord, I've forgotten who, that we had to talk about Taylor Swift on the podcast, and I completely forgot to.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've recently become a Taylor Swift stan.
Same.
But I wasn't before. I literally don't think I'd ever listened to a Taylor Swift album before this year, full through. So what's the story? It was a cold day in March. We were still in the peak of the pandemic, You weren't even really allowed to meet up with people. I went and met my friend to go for a walk. Do you remember those days when you met people to go for a walk? You didn't go to the pub, you didn't go for dinner, no, you went on a walk with your friends. In the cold March as well, I had a fluffy coat on. I was so bored at this stage because, well, when the pandemic started, no, you do not want me talking about the pandemic. When the pandemic started, I threw myself into my channel. I did nothing but upload for about a year. And by about a year of non-stop uploading, I kind of got to this point of I want to actually take up a hobby now. We've been inside for way too long. So I was playing around with my little MIDI keyboard, trying to write some music. And I had written, I think I wrote 2 songs that week. I think it was the first week of March. He said to me about the synth pop one, which he preferred, that it kind of had a Taylor Swift synth pop vibe to it. Because obviously she has quite a few synth pop songs, specifically from Reputation and sort of that era of music. He didn't tell me specifically, oh, you should listen to Taylor Swift. But I, for some reason, took out of this conversation, you know what? I've been not listening to Taylor Swift for too long. So I downloaded all of her albums onto my phone and listened to them one by one. It changed my life.
But how did it go from just being you casually listening to old albums to actually having Taylor Swift as one of your most listened to people?
Well, long story short, I actually liked the albums. Some of the music really resonated with me. Am I allowed to say Folklore and Evermore really resonated with me, or are we gonna leave that? I think
that's the official ranking.
That's my official ranking. Most of it is just kind of pop music, which for me, pop music is fun. I like to listen to it. If it comes on when I'm out, I'll have a good time listening to it. But it's not something I'm just gonna sit and enjoy in my own free time that much, because it's kind of like you listen to it once and you've kind of got it. It's catchy, it'll get stuck in your head, but it's not gonna stick with you for the rest of your life, I don't think. It was when I listened to the later albums, and I want to stress, these albums, Folklore and Evermore, took a few months to grow on me. But when they hit me, they hit different. These were alternative pop, alternative rock albums that are very reminiscent of stuff I listened to when I was 15, 16, and they really, really resonated with me and have genuinely become two of my favorite albums ever. When you do an alt pop, alt rock album like like Folklore, and it has deep lyricism and meaning, I could listen to that anytime. I will probably be listening to Folklore when I'm 50 and I'll still be like, yeah, this was a good album, wasn't it? And I think that took me from being someone who had listened to the albums a few times and thought, yeah, I'd consider myself a Taylor Swift fan too. Yeah, I'm a full-blown Swiftie. I can't wait to see what she releases next.
One of the real tells that you were an actual Swiftie from me living with you is me walking into this living room and you laying flat on the sofa with Folklore playing from your laptop, and you're just staring at the ceiling. And this didn't just happen once. This happened multiple times.
I tell you, Folklore hits different when you listen to it through my laptop. That has extra speakers. I think they've added extra harmonies on it. I'm convinced. It does not sound the same. I don't feel like a lot of people do that. I kind of will just sit and listen to music without doing something else.
Yes, and also you don't listen to music in the same way that I do, for example, which is often to do with how I feel. So I listen to songs that match how I'm feeling in the moment. But you were listening to this depressing album, and I walk in and I'm like, are you sad? And you were like, no, I'm having a great time. I'm listening to Folklore.
Yeah, I guess now it's all out in the open. I am a Swiftie, guys. You've been asking in my comments, oh, is Seamus a Swiftie? The answer is yes. And now we're gonna go rank the albums.
Are you gonna appear?
We were like, yo, we can do a tier list, but not a boring tier list, a fun tier list. I'm kind of nervous now because
Why?
I feel like Taylor Swift fans are gonna come for me.
Probably.
I don't think it actually matters anything I do here. There's no good take, is there? Because you're gonna put someone's album at the bottom. So I should probably preface this by saying I actually like all of the albums.
Also, can you explain why these are the colors that we have on the board?
So Vega told me there was like some Taylor Swift house that we should do the colors based off, and the printer could not print out in red and green, which were the two colors that we're missing. Before this week, I hadn't really listened to a lot of the country albums, like her first 3, because I listened to them once when I first listened to Taylor Swift. It was kind of like, okay, fine. And then I listened to them all this week, and I liked all of them. And it's really bugging me because now I don't know what to put at the bottom.
I'm just gonna say one, and you're gonna have to start with Reputation.
Reputation. Oh, that's a really hard one to start with.
Yep.
I think, and I'm saying this genuinely, there is a strong claim that all of Taylor Swift's albums improve upon each other. This is one of the more recent ones, and I'm gonna put it up here. Reputation. I think this one's a fun album because... No, why am I saying this weirdly? I'm like talking like it's like a school project. She goes very synth with this one. I love electronic sound. I think that kind of music's really fun. I think there's a consistent vibe across the album, which I think is really important to an album. And I think there are some good tracks on there, but the problem with Reputation for me, and the reason it wouldn't go up here, is because, at least for me personally, there isn't a standout track that I just have to listen to all the time. It's just a very consistent album.
Next one. Fearless, the original one.
Well, this is gonna be a really easy decision because I've never listened to this. Contextually, when I started listening to Taylor Swift, which we said was March 2021, the Fearless Taylor's version was available for pre-order and coming out about 3 weeks after I started. So I never actually listened to this. I waited for the Taylor's version to come out and then listened to it for the first time the day Taylor's version came out. So I'm gonna have to put this bottom tier because I've never listened to it.
Maybe we should just do that one next then.
Okay, Fearless Taylor's version. I'm gonna talk about this in the perspective of it being the second album. Do you get me? I'm actually think I'm gonna put it up here. I don't think it's as good as Reputation. This album has so many hits, so many good singles from it. I think you listen to this album and you're like, oh my god, this reminds me of a time that I didn't even know I remembered. Even though I didn't listen to this album, I recognize the songs, which I think's a sign that an album made a cultural impact. For me, it doesn't quite reach the top, but I do think this is a good album.
I'm gonna go next with Lover.
Okay. Here we go.
Ooh. It's matching, kind of.
I don't think this is a bad album by any means. I think this is actually a good album. There's some good songs on this album. I love some tracks like Paper Rings is one of my all-time favorite Taylor Swift songs. I just don't think the vibe is right at all. Like, if she released this album in like 2014, I think it's a good album. I listened to Taylor Swift very retroactively. I was trying to experience all the time periods as you went through it. I could have very easily ranked this highly because I listened to all of the albums at the same time, but I was trying to put myself in her shoes, listening to her albums in order. She goes through this cool Reputation era, and then she's like, okay, we're back to Lover. Me is one of the worst songs ever. I mean, it was made for kids. I can accept that, and I can accept that's fine. But I think this is a weaker album in the grand scheme of things, unfortunately. However, as I said, I've Got You Exist being the leading track. I think that's something Taylor Swift is very good at. Opening tracks. I think it's the most important track on an album. It can't be the most popular song on the album because otherwise you're craving to come back to it. But it has to get the vibe of the album and it has to be very, very catchy. Again, I don't hate it. I don't think it lived up to her earlier work.
So I don't know if you want to group these together as well, but Red, the original one.
Okay. Taylor Swift's albums are all too long. This album is like 3 hours long. I'm going to put them ahead of Reputation. Unfortunately for you, Vegard.
Wow.
This is, as I called this her first pop album. It's way too long. I stand by that. I don't know how to put it. It sounds like a U2 album when it opens. And I'm like, this is a cool 80s rock vibe. And then obviously Taylor comes in, kills the tracks. I'm not sure I 100% like all of the track listings. All Too Well playing and then 22 coming immediately afterwards is a choice, but maybe that's the vibe of Red, you know? You gotta be weeping over All Too Well and then shaking your booty to 22 10 seconds later, right?
Speak Now. Or wait, actually, Taylor Swift.
I was hoping you'd say Taylor Swift. Let's go. I think this album's good. I'm like surprised how much I enjoy this album. I think there's, again, a lot of really iconic tracks from it. However, and I think I thought of this yesterday, okay? And I think this is a nailed-on description of Taylor's work specifically when she was a teenager. It kind of sounds like Disney Channel music. It's pop songs that are very me, talking about a very personal thing, and the lyricism isn't much more than just telling a very basic story. It's very hard to criticize this. She's 16 when she recorded this. I don't think there are many 16-year-olds that can make a better album. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at the track list. Again, I don't think there's much of a skip in there. I think it's a consistent album again. It's a good length as well. This isn't too long. It will be when she does the Taylor's version, because it's gonna have about 10 extra tracks.
Taylor Swift, Taylor's version. Oh my god, she's gonna go wild on the brackets on that one. Folklore.
Okay, yeah. I genuinely believe this has a very strong claim to be album of the decade so far.
Whoa.
This is actually genius. I don't think there's much I can really say about Folklore that isn't just listen to it. I don't think I've even taken this album in fully, and I've listened to it over 70 times. I genuinely don't think I have worked everything out with it. You could do a whole conspiracy board with this album. I just think you've got to listen to it. If you don't like it first try, listen to it again. Yeah. Even the bonus track, The Lakes, unbelievable.
Speak Now.
Speak Now, okay. Firstly, I didn't get this album until yesterday. the line, Speak Now, it's in a wedding when they go, Speak Now, forever hold your peace. And in the song Speak Now, she goes, they said Speak Now. That's really funny, but a whole album on that vibe. So Speak Now. Unfortunately, I personally don't think this album is better than Fearless, which might be another spanner in this whole all of her albums improve upon each other vibe.
Yeah, where does that...
I think there's an argument to be made. I think there's a lot of artists where you can't even make the argument with it,
Right.
you know? Again, multiple hits on this album. I didn't actually like it that much first or second listen, but third, fourth, fifth, it's been growing on me. So I think I would put it bottom yesterday had we done this. But I listened to it 3 times yesterday, and I put it over this, and it might just keep growing. I actually really enjoyed listening to it.
Wow.
I don't have that much to say about this album. I think it might go up on the list after Taylor's version gets released of it.
We only have two options.
What are your predictions?
I don't hear you talk about 1989 a lot, so I feel like it's either gonna fall like right before Reputation or right after Reputation. And I know that Evermore is gonna be the top one of all of them. But yeah, 1989 next.
I actually don't know where I'm going to put it either.
Whoa.
You know what? Red Taylor's version is just, it's not even there anymore. Not Red non-Taylor's version. I don't think anything she will ever release can be bigger than this almost, because it was so monumental. I think a problem with a pop album is that, like this, you can grow very sick of the tracks, because you go into a shop, these songs are playing. Just anything like that. It just, people will be sick of so many songs off this album.
Oh, look, it's us up there. Me and you.
Evermore. Yo. Okay, a big thing.
What was that?
I don't know. On paper, I think this is a better album. I just like more songs from this album. And I think they're both the same in a way. I think Willow's better than The One, and I was so full of praise for The One, so that shows how good Willow is. I think Willow might be the most listened to track from both of these albums on Spotify. Both of these albums have Bon Iver collabs as well, which is really cool. But yeah, these two are hard to split, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of the time I say they feel like one just very big album.
Sister albums,
exactly. I think both of these albums are like basically flawless. For what they do. However, with that said, I really hope she doesn't release another one like that. I think
that's the official ranking.
That's my official ranking. I hope I got my opinions across. Again, it's just the storytelling in these two guys. It's unbelievable. I've got a question for you now, Vegard.
Yes.
I want you to go up here and rearrange it to the order that you would have your tier list.
Okay.
So basically, the moral of the story is Taylor Swift drops an album with a black and white cover. You're dying.
I'm just gonna apologize for the person I will become when this gets re-released.
Okay, so those are my opinions now. We've taken the board down. Sad board on its own. The opinions are gone now, but I stated my opinions on Taylor Swift quite publicly about a year ago. Yeah, we're going to see how much they've changed. I'm going to cringe at what I said after like 5 listens. Again, from the Patreon exclusive Bacon and Eggs Hash Browns podcast. Okay, I'm nervous about this.
So your first opinion is about Folklore, okay? Folklore and Evermore. Are you ready?
Oh, if I made an album that sounded like Folklore, I would be 100% happy.
I wasn't that into Folklore, but I feel like it takes a few more listens to really get into it. No, I thought that was what I said. I'm happy that I said that, actually. I'm okay with that.
Okay, this is your opinion on the country stuff.
I don't like her country stuff, to be honest.
Right, and then...
I listened to them a lot last week when we were shooting the tier list, and I did still like it, so I'm gonna have to retract on that as well. I think her country stuff is still good. I also think like that's a very frowned upon take in the Taylor Swift fandom. If you're like, yeah, I like Taylor Swift, except for the country stuff.
This is just funny. This is you talking about All Too Well.
All Too Well is her best song.
What?
All Too Well is her best song.
I don't know which one that is. Wait.
That's only funny now because of the re-release.
Yeah, because now All Too Well is like the single from it.
This is talking about Reputation.
Okay.
And like 1999 came out.
Reputation's like cool though. My thing is with Reputation is that none of the songs on their own hold up. What?
Yeah.
I don't think like there's the song that like catches my eye from Reputation where I'm like, yo, this is the song. Like if you said like, what's your favorite song on Reputation? I don't think I would have an answer because I don't really know, but I like the album as a whole because I think it's a cool album. So I think that's what I'm trying to say, but I didn't say it very well.
And then here we go. This is the final clip. This is talking about Lover.
Okay. Paper Rings is a great song, by the way, but I said that. It got some good songs on there, but there's so many skips. I think Me, feat Brennan Urie, Vegan and I were talking about this the other day, is maybe the worst song ever made. Yeah, wow, I'm actually surprised how little my opinions on her pop albums have changed. The only thing that's changed is I like the likes of Folklore, Evermore, and even her country stuff more now. That's all that's changed. Oh, you got me nervous. You're like, Seamus, you need to react to this. That was fine. The worst thing I said was I don't know what All Too Well is. I know what All Too Well is now, guys. You can't even hate on me.
Well, you that know everything, I think we should test your knowledge on that and see how much you actually know. Are you ready to guess the Taylor Swift song in 1 second?
I am ready for it.
Wow, the references. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, you got your...
Oh, I don't know. Skin. I don't even know what album that's from.
What?
That was nothing.
Okay, well, at least guess the album. Like, try to give us a guess.
Reputation?
It was Reputation. It was I Did Something Bad.
I don't know. I got nothing from that. I gathered it was probably Reputation because her voice sounded more mature, but that's all I had to go off. I don't know.
I thought you would be better at this. I even had a guess for this.
I'm gonna guess it's from Speak Now, but I don't know what song it is.
So that was actually 1989 and it was Clean.
Yep. Dorothea.
Yeah, you got it.
I literally had to go through the song a little bit, but I did get it. Okay. Oh my god, I know this. This is I Forgot That You Existed from Lover. I can't believe that one was like my quickest one. I really nailed that. I just recognized the dun 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 because they put that in the thing for some reason.
Okay, that was terrible, Seamus.
Yeah, I think this proves that you don't need to know everything about someone to like their stuff. I also think that's really challenging. I think you could put me on like a two-door cinema club, name their songs in 1 second, and I would struggle. We delayed this video quite significantly because we were hoping Taylor Swift would drop something so we could have a nice conclusion here and react to the new album as part of this experience, but all she dropped was a couple summer clothing lines, so...
The fact that Taylor Nation did a countdown on the 13th of May to a summer collection drop is the most evil thing they've done.
But yeah, that is how I became a Swiftie. I know this is a video people wanted to see, and I know there's also going to be a lot of people like, what is this? Why is Seamus releasing this video? And this is a video specifically for those of you who wanted it. I don't think anyone who didn't want it's going to have got this far, so if you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, watch another video, check out my Patreon in the description down below. And yeah, let me know what you want my next obsession to be, and we'll keep making this series, apparently. I think this is a thing now.